would happen if Nezuko fought every single Upper Moon in Demon Slayer? Who could she beat, and who would beat her? Well, I've split Nezuko into 4 levels of strength, so let's start off at Nezuko's weakest form. Can she even defeat one Upper Moon? She's got no flames, no horn, no advanced regeneration, meaning that against most of the Upper Moons, she would get completely destroyed. But there are 2 demons she might have a chance against. Daki would underestimate her because of Nezuko's childlike appearance. She might get caught off guard by a surprise kick, but Nezuko's lack of technique means she wouldn't last long. Gyoko also wouldn't take her seriously. His vase techniques would confuse her, and even if she landed a hit, he'd just teleport away or regenerate instantly. So out of the 6 Upper Moons, at level 1, Nezuko wouldn't be able to kill a single one. This is just level 1 Nezuko. We still have 3 more forms to go until we reach her strongest version. Nezuko's second form is where things start to change. She now has her blood demon art, Exploding Blood, along with much faster regeneration and far stronger physical power. She also enters her Berserk mode, where a horn grows from her head, her limbs are covered in vine-like tattoos, and she becomes nearly uncontrollable. This is the form she used to fight Daki in the anime, and in this form, she could absolutely kill her. Daki would attack first using her Obi slashes to try and slice Nezuko apart, but Nezuko's new regeneration means she'd recover almost instantly. Even when she was split in half by Daki in the anime, she managed to pull her body back together with her own blood and reattach herself. Nezuko would then counter with a devastating kick strong enough to smash Daki through several buildings and even sever her head in one hit. Daki would regenerate but now be on the defensive. Nezuko's flames would burn through her Obi sashes and stop them from regenerating quickly, making each hit more effective. The fight would only last a minute before Daki is overwhelmed and defeated. But this fight isn't over yet. Gyutaro would then emerge from her body, and this is where things get dangerous. Gyutaro's blood sickles are coated in deadly poison, and he's much faster and stronger than Daki. Nezuko would struggle here because she still doesn't have full control over her Berserk state, and her flames take a toll on her body. The fight would be intense. Nezuko would land a few solid hits, but Gyutaro would stab her with his poison sickles. Eventually, her regeneration would slow down, and she would fall unconscious, meaning that in this form, Nezuko can kill Daki but loses to Gyutaro. Kaigaku is the newest Upper Moon. He took Gyutaro's place as Upper Moon 6, and while he's not as experienced, his potential is scary. He was a former demon slayer, trained in thunder breathing, and after turning into a demon, he developed the blood demon art that lets him control black lightning. His attacks are fast, wide-ranged, and leave behind electricity that burns and tears the body. He completely overpowered Zenitsu at the start of their fight, but when he faces second form Nezuko, things go differently. The fight would start fast. Kaigaku keeps his distance, firing Thunder Swarm and Distant Thunder. Each strike lands and shocks Nezuko's body, but Nezuko doesn't go down. She charges through it like she did against Daki, regenerating instantly and tackling Kaigaku mid-attack. He tries to use Heat Lightning to break free, but Nezuko slams him to the ground and ignites her blood, setting his body on fire. Kaigaku panics. He's not used to fighting demons, especially one that doesn't flinch. He goes for his ultimate, Rumble and Flash, a series of massive lightning blasts. But Nezuko takes the hit, and while her body is burning, she reforms mid-air and finishes with an axe kick that caves in his skull. Kaigaku's regeneration activates, but the exploding blood slows it too much. He gets burned before he can fight back. So even though level 2 Nezuko loses to Gyutaro, she defeats Kaigaku because his attacks lack the poison, and his inexperience costs him the fight. Can level 2 Nezuko defeat Gyoko? At level 2, Nezuko has raw power, exploding blood, and insane physical strength, but she lacks control and strategy. That's a problem against Gyoko. Gyoko's fighting style is bizarre. He attacks with fish demons, ink bullets, and teleportation. And if things go bad, he transforms into his true form, where he gains massive speed and can crush opponents with his fists. Level 2 Nezuko might surprise him with her Berserk strength. She could destroy his vases and burn his summoned fish. But Gyoko would just teleport away, regenerate his pots, and attack from a new angle. Eventually, he'd hit her with poison ink and explosive fish, and her lack of tactical awareness would leave her open. Even her exploding blood wouldn't be enough because she'd missed too many chances. So at level 2, Nezuko loses to Gyoko. But what about Form 3 Nezuko? This is a totally different fight. Form 3 Nezuko is where she becomes a real threat. This is the version that fought in the Swordsmith Village arc. She now has full control over her demon transformation, meaning she can use her flames without going berserk. She also has regeneration on par with with the upper moons and can fight while thinking strategically. On top of that, her flames can now delay the regeneration of other demons and enhance Nichiren weapons. This is the strongest version of Nezuko before she becomes immune to sunlight. She dodged the fish summons, burned the ink with her exploding blood, and destroyed each pop before Gyoko could teleport again. If Gyoko transformed, she'd meet him head on, and this time her regeneration in flames would let her tank his blows and burn him faster than he can heal. In this form, Nezuko's blood demon art would give her the edge. She'd bait Gyoko into attacking, then explode her own blood on his body, melting his limbs and burning his core until it couldn't regenerate anymore. So, Form 3 Nezuko defeats Gyoko. Next up, we'll see what happens when level 3 Nezuko takes on Hantengu and all of his emotion clones. This is where things start to get wild. Against Hantengu, she would be fighting 4 powerful clones at once, each with unique abilities. Sekido has lightning attacks, Karaku uses wind blasts, Aizetsu has long-range yachty techniques, and Irogi has flight and sonic attacks. In the Swordsmith village, Nezuko was already able to hold her own against multiple clones, even saving Tanjiro from being crushed by Zohakuten. This time, without needing to protect anyone, she could go all out. She'd start by targeting Karaku, using her kicks to break his fan and her flames to burn his body. Aizetsu would try to impale her, but she'd dodge and counter with a flaming slash that stops his regen. Urogi's sonic scream would disorient her, but her regeneration would recover fast enough to keep fighting. Sekido's lightning would be the real problem. It could paralyze her briefly, allowing the other clones to attack. But Nezuko's exploding blood could burn all of them at once if timed right. She would eventually burn through each of the regeneration windows one by one, but the fight wouldn't end there. Once the 4 clones are weakened, Sekido would absorb the rest and become Zohakuten, the fusion form. This version can summon wooden dragons, each using a different ability. Zohakuten would be the strongest opponent Nezuko has faced so far. His range and power would overwhelm her, and unless she burns the wooden dragons, she wouldn't be able to reach him. If she combines her physical strength with a full-body flame burst, she might be able to injure him. But even then, Zohakuten would regenerate too quickly. Eventually, Nezuko's stamina would run out, and she would collapse. So while Form 3 Nezuko could defeat the clones individually, she would lose to Zohakuten. Nakime is tricky. She's not a direct fighter. She's the Upper Moon 4 after Hantengu's death, and her entire blood demon art is spatial manipulation. She controls the Infinity Castle, can teleport anywhere, reshape rooms, and trap her enemies by constantly shifting the environment. She was able to restrain multiple Hashira at once, and she nearly caught Obanai and Mitsuri without even fighting. Her strategy is pure defense and control, while using her Biwa to change the battlefield and crush opponents. Against Form 3 Nezuko, this would be a strange fight. Nakime wouldn't attack directly, she'd teleport Nezuko over and over, dropping walls, twisting the floor, and trying to disorient her. Nezuko would respond by exploding blood across surfaces, burning through the castle, and slowing Nakime's control. She could tank falling debris and regenerate from crushing damage. But the real advantage is that Nezuko doesn't need to find her. Nakime's brain is outside her body. If Nezuko can sense the Biwa sound or catch her actual body even once, she could finish the fight. This version of Nezuko has the awareness and control to figure that out. Eventually, she'd destroy enough of the castle to expose Nakime's location, rush her, and burn her with exploding blood before she could teleport again. So, against Nakime, Form 3 Nezuko wins. But it would take time, and it wouldn't be easy. Nakime's down, and that just leaves the top 3 upper moons, Akaza, Doma, and Kokushibo. In this fight, Form 3 Nezuko would get obliterated and be finished in second. But what if she unlocked her final form? Sunlight immune Nezuko at full power? Could she defeat the rest of the upper moons? Akaza, Doma, and Kokushibo? Form 4 Nezuko is her strongest version. This is the form where she becomes immune to sunlight, something no demon has ever done. In this state, she retains full control over her powers. Her regeneration is instant. Her strength rivals the upper moons, and her blood demon art can burn through even the toughest enemies. This is the form that marks her as a true monster. Now, how will she go against Akaza? Akaza is built different. He's not just strong, he's adaptive, fast, and durable beyond reason. His technique development lets him read battle patterns and predict movements like a living combat AI. Nezuko's unpredictability helps her early on. She dodges a few hits, lands a strong kick, burns his arm with exploding blood, but Akaza adapts fast. His body adjusts to her timing, and his compass needle starts predicting her movement. She uses flames to push back, but Akaza's regeneration keeps up, and he gets stronger the longer he fights. Meanwhile, Nezuko starts slowing down. Her biggest weakness is stamina. She has power, but not endurance for drawn-out battles. Akaza has both. He tanks her flames, gets back up, and starts landing clean hits. One punch breaks her ribs, one kick crushes her skull. She regenerates, but slower each time, and her flames start losing effect. In the end, Akaza overwhelms her, breaking her body down bit by bit until she can't get up anymore. So even after all this, Akaza would still lose. Do you know why? Well, if you remember, Akaza does not fight women, so he will just let her win. And also, you should subscribe now before we see Doma's fight, so do so now! Doma is the second strongest demon in the 12 Kizuki, and he's the most dangerous one Nezuko would ever face. She enters the fight in her final form, sunlight immune, fully conscious, perfect regeneration, and complete mastery over exploding blood. And for the first minute, it looks like she's winning. Her flames melt through the ice, her strength cracks his clones, and her regeneration negates his constant area attacks. But Doma is unlike any other upper moon. He doesn't feel pain, he doesn't feel anger, and he doesn't get caught off guard. His ice is deadly, but it's not the raw damage that's the problem. It's how it spreads. How it creeps into every corner of the battlefield. Into Nezuko's lungs, into her blood, into her limbs. Her flames can melt it, but not fast enough, because Doma doesn't stop. He floods the entire space with cold mist, lotus flowers, fans, ice spears, everything at once. Nezuko burns through waves of it again and again, but each time she does, she loses stamina. And unlike Doma, she needs to breathe, to think, to move. Eventually, her movements slow, her flames shrink, and Doma starts freezing her regeneration. One cut becomes two. Two cuts stop healing, and the ice builds faster than she can melt it. She lands one final kick, burns his chest, nearly blows his head off, but he reforms midair, smiling like nothing happened. And that's the problem. Doma doesn't get tired. Nezuko does, so in the end, she's still standing, but she can't win. She can't kill him, and Doma walks away as the victor. So even in her strongest state, Nezuko can't defeat Akaza or Doma. She might survive, but can't finish them. But what of Kokushibo? Kokushibo! The strongest demon beneath Muzan. The demon who defeated multiple Hashiros and lived for over 400 years. Can Nezuko beat him? Kokushibo is on a different level than every other upper moon. He was once a demon slayer and the brother of the sun-breathing founder, Yoriichi Sugikuni. After turning into a demon, he kept all of his combat skills and gained a blood demon art that allowed him to create crescent blades with each sword swing. Nezuko's flames won't help much here. Kokushibo's attacks don't rely on poison or ice. They're pure swordsmanship, enhanced with deadly range and overwhelming speed. He can launch multiple slashes from a single swing, each with unpredictable angles that would slice through buildings and even other upper moons. At the start, Nezuko would dodge a few attacks, maybe land a hit or two. Her speed and regeneration would keep her alive longer than most, but Kokushibo wouldn't get serious until he sees her survive the first barrage. Then he would activate his true form, a monstrous body covered in eyes, with a sword grown from his flesh. At that point, the fight would shift. Kokushibo's reaction speed would surpass even her regeneration. He could cut her into pieces faster than she could reattach them. Even her exploding blood wouldn't burn fast enough to stop his healing. And with no sword, she wouldn't be able to clash with his red blade. Nezuko would keep fighting because she doesn't know how to quit. But in the end, Kokushibo's experience and technique would be too much for even her final form. So in the end, Sunlight Immune Nezuko loses to Kokushibo. What do you think? And who will win? But what if Tanjiro fought them instead? We'll click on this video to watch it.